Hello everyone. I wasn't going to share this publicly, but after careful consideration of all the facts involved, I decided to, as this might actually save a life, and this would also encourage people to be very vigilant in the country, Nigeria. On Friday, the 1st of July, 2022, at exactly 9:30 p.m., I was at Lekki Phase 1 trying to get home. I live in Chevron. I booked an Uber who delayed me for about 25 minutes and cancelled the trip. I was eventually connected to another driver who came at exactly 10:08 p.m. I went outside to meet him and I checked the plate number of the car and ensured that it correlated with what was on my app. That's what I usually do before I get into any taxi. I got into the car, I greeted him, and I explained to him how I had already been waiting for 30 minutes for a driver, so I would appreciate if he can drive as quickly as possible, because at this point I was trying to get home before at least 10:45 because I don't really like to stay out late. He said he would try his best, and I said, oh, thank you so much, I would really appreciate this. He started the trip and immediately I received a WhatsApp call from my sister. It was a video call. So I'm holding my phone, I'm talking to my sister on this call, and suddenly as we're approaching Lekki Phase 1 gates, that little traffic just before you go out of the gates, the driver turned back and asked me if I ended the trip. So at this point I was really confused because I'm like, why will I end the trip? Because I'm trying to get home quickly. I'm also on a WhatsApp call, so how do I leave my call and go and start ending the trip, and why would I even do that? So he said the trip has ended. So I told my sister I was going to call her back, and then the Uber driver said, no, continue on your video call. Don't worry about what's happening. I said, no, I want to properly understand what the problem is. So I ended the call with my sister and said, okay, what do you say happened? And then he showed me his app. I could see ride has ended, pay your driver 400 naira. So I said, I didn't end the trip, so what happened? He said he didn't end the trip, he doesn't know what happened. I'm like, okay, so what do we do now? Because I mean, we had driven out of Lekki Phase 1 gates at this point and he was approaching the express road. I suggested to him that we go offline, and when I get home I'll pay him the price estimates as stated on the app before the trip ended. He said no, he couldn't go offline. I asked why, and he said due to security reasons. So I'm like, ideally the rider should be the one afraid here, so what can I possibly do to you? But he was very adamant about not going offline. So I said, okay, so let me pay you the 400 and come down from your car. And he said no, that I shouldn't worry, that I should just keep trying to request him, that I should go on the app, request an Uber and get connected back to him, and then he would go. So I went on the Uber app and started trying to request, the Uber, thinking since we're in the same car, I would get connected back to him. I was at the back seat, by the way, and he was in the driver's seat, obviously. I noticed that each time I go on the app and I'm requesting, he would turn off his app in front. So I said, why are you doing this? And how do I get connected to you if you keep turning off your app? And then he gave me some story about how he had to turn it off first, and then when I'm already requesting, he would get I don't know what he was really saying, but at this point he was driving really slowly. We had already passed Lekki Phase 1 bus stop, and we're about to get to that pinnacle at Lekki second roundabout. We're almost there. So this was in between Lekki Phase 1 and second roundabout. So I started getting disturbed, because he'd occasionally turn back, scan me up to down, almost like he was looking to see everything I had on me. And it also appeared he was texting someone. My spirit became unsettled and my instinct told me to come down from his car. So I said, can you please stop your car? He said, why do I want to come down? I said, because I'm not comfortable, please stop your car. So I checked if the door could open, and it could open. So he stopped the car, and I noticed he was texting someone. So I quickly sent a message to my sister saying, this driver is acting really funny and I don't know what's up with him, I'm scared. I came down from the car and I started trying other apps, other taxi apps, and for some reason nobody was coming. I even got connected to another Uber driver who cancelled. But this happened like literally 2 minutes after I came down from the car. So as this was happening, I was still seeing this guy texting someone in the car. So I, at this point, decided to take a picture of his plate number. Now, immediately I took a picture of his plate number and sent it to my sister. I raised up my head and saw 3 men holding axes, cutlasses, and every sharp weapon you can imagine, like weapons used to slaughter animals. They were holding this like raising it up in their hands, and they were running viciously towards me and shouting, "Where is she?" They came from the other side of the road and crossed the road. Apparently, they didn't come like they were looking for who to rob. And the Uber driver was there parked in his car. I was standing behind the Uber car when these men were coming. I was wearing a black dress, so there's no way they could have seen me, if not that they had received information. They came straight to me shouting, "Where is she? Where is she?" And at this point they were already in front of me. So I said, "All I have on me is my phone," and I threw my phone at them because they were about to hit me with their weapon. So I threw my phone at them. They bent to pick the phone and I just started running. I was wearing high heels, just high slippers. I removed the slippers and I started running. So I ran to the other side of the road and I met the bike that had apparently brought them. So he was holding his own cutlass, and immediately I got there, he started coming towards me with his bike. So I ran back to the side of the road I had just come from, but I ran adjacent. So I started running forward. I was running, screaming for help. They were chasing me initially, but later they stopped. Because cars were on the road, but nobody would stop for me. I was flagging cars down, begging, crying, screaming. I ran. When you run for your life, I literally ran for my life. I even saw buses. I was just, flagging cars, flagging buses. Nobody was stopping. People were just running away, basically. At this point, I started to call on the Holy Spirit and to call on God for help. And all of a sudden, I saw some men in black coming with guns, and I was scared initially, but they identified themselves as members of the Nigerian police force. So they asked me what happened, and just as I was about to open my mouth to explain what happened, we heard someone on the other side of the road screaming. So they asked me who that person is. I couldn't see clearly, so I said, "I can't see, I don't know who that person is." They said, "Let's go and see who the person." So we got there, and it was the Uber driver who had brought me, apparently. So he started screaming, and the Uber driver that dropped her, this lady was feeling too smart. She was feeling too smart. I told her not to calm down. Now she came down and was taking a picture of my plate number. So this driver was screaming at the top of his voice, and he was really driving in was the fact that I had come down to take a picture of his plate number. Now why was he so bothered that I took a picture of his plate number? So he was screaming and shouting that he's traumatized, he advised me that when the trip ended, he advised me that he wanted to take me somewhere safe. But I said I must calm down. And then I came down and some guys saw me and took my phone. I said, "Mr. Man, that is not what happened." So the policeman said, "But we saw the bike man that drove off with the weapons, and that was why, and we saw her running, and that's why we stopped." So the policeman said, "Oga, can you calm down please and let this lady speak?" They gave me the floor and I explained what happened from the point I entered the car to when he ended the trip, and how he was acting funny and how I got scared and asked to calm down. And I told them that in all of this he was lying, because he never suggested to drive me somewhere safe. All he kept on saying was that I should keep trying to connect to him while he was turning off his app and not making me get connected to him, whilst also texting people and acting really shady and funny. After listening to both sides of the story, the policeman suggested we go to the police station and report the case. However, they weren't willing to go with us. They said they were headed somewhere else and I should go with the Uber driver, who I had just explained what happened to them. They said that nothing would happen. I even called one of the police officers aside and pleaded with him that I was actually scared because I was phoneless, I was barefoot, it was literally just me at this point. He was like, no, nothing will happen, don't worry. They now took a picture of the Uber driver and his plate number and said I should go with him, but I said no, that I was scared. Thankfully, a friend of mine was driving by at this point, heard the chaos that was going on because the Uber driver was screaming at the top of his voice while trying to clear himself. Nobody had accused him of anything, but he was just trying to clear himself for no reason. So my friend saw me and stopped the car and came to find out what was going on, and thankfully I was able to use my friend's phone to call a family member who came to my aid, and we now went to the police station. But before we left there, the policeman made the Uber driver give us his number, and he was supposed to actually come with us to the police station. However, he didn't come to the police station. When we got to the police station, the police called him and told him, after narrating the story to the police there, they called him and told him to come to the station within an hour, if not he was going to be in trouble. We were there till 2 a.m. After waiting hours at the police station, the Uber driver never showed up and the policeman advised that we go home. So I got home at 3 a.m. I logged into my account on the Uber app from a family member's phone and I reported the trip. On Saturday, the 2nd of July, I went and I retrieved my phone number. On Sunday, the 3rd of July, at about 12 noon, I got a call from a Nigerian number. I picked up and it was an Uber representative who called to find out what had happened. It was a woman and she sounded Indian, or she had an Indian accent. She asked me what had happened. She wanted a verbal report because according to her, Uber had seen my report on the app. I narrated the whole story and she asked me if I was physically hurt or if, they harmed me with their weapons. I said no, they didn't harm me. However, I ran so much that I had physical body pains. Like, I was literally in so much pain. I told her I was in so much pain and I was also traumatized because of the incident. I hadn't slept. Every time I shut my eyes, I kept having flashbacks of the men, how they were running, how they held the axes and cutlasses and all of that. After she found out I wasn't physically hurt, her response almost came off as, because you are not physically hurt, there's nothing we can actually do about your situation. So she said Uber was going to conduct an internal investigation and send me an email. I'm like, okay, so what of my phone that got stolen? She said, unfortunately, there was nothing she could do about it. I said, but I just told you the role your driver played in my phone getting stolen. Even if he wasn't a part of them, which I, really suspect he was, but even if he wasn't, he was a but-for cause. But for the fact that he ended my trip, but for the fact that he wouldn't move, my phone would not have been stolen. So he played a vital role in this thing happening to me. And she said, unfortunately, Uber doesn't cover for such things and there was nothing she could do about my phone. I also told her about the fact that I actually did have other taxi options. However, I chose Uber over them because I felt Uber was safe, I felt Uber was secure. And then now this has happened. She assured me that Uber was going to send me an email to follow up on the case. And this was a week ago. It's exactly been a week now. I've been refreshing my emails every day. I haven't gotten any messages from Uber. So yesterday I took my app to see maybe they had messaged me on the Uber app. I logged into the Uber app, into my account on the Uber app, and I saw that they cleared out the trip like it never happened and refunded 400 naira in my wallet. I opened the app and I just saw 400 in your wallet. I'm like, I never put money in my Uber wallet. I just transfer to drivers or pay in cash. So when I went looking for the trip, I realized that they had wiped it out like it never happened. I do not know why Uber cleared out this trip and refunded 400 in my wallet. But the good thing is I already had screenshots of the trip because I made the screenshots to send to them. I never knew they were going to clear out the trip or act like nothing happened. I don't know why I haven't heard from Uber up until now as regards updates of the driver or his whereabouts. Or I don't even know if he's out there planning his next victim. But what I want to say right now is that Uber should please do the right thing. My phone was stolen because of your driver, and I only booked Uber because I felt Uber was the safest option for me. So you are to bear liability for your driver's actions. He was working under your company, and everything I went through that night, I went through because of Uber. So please, I want my phone back. It was really expensive and there was so much stuff that I hadn't even backed up on my phone. And this is also an appeal to the general public to please be really careful. Nigeria is really not safe at the moment. Things are happening, and I just really want to thank God for even saving my life. I don't know what the end goal was for them. I don't know if it was to kidnap me. I don't know if it was just to steal. I don't know what the plan was, but I'm really grateful to God that He spared my life that night and I was able to escape.